Say culon if you're retarded. Culon. This entire Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez UFC 320 saga has been some of the most embarrassing PR the UFC have had in years, in my opinion. From this fight being rumored, right? So it's not official, but it's if you put the fucking clues together, it's official. Like, you know, with Movsar sort of saying that he's booked up, and we'll get to that, but him saying he's booked up, and we know that Volk is going to come back around September, and we know Yair has said that the UFC promised him a title shot. Like, if you put the context clues together, this fight is happening next. So it being rumored just confirms it or just helps confirm it. But this has been rumored for a while, and nobody is for it. Even Yair Rodriguez fans, if they exist, right? And, you know, other than like, I don't know, probably like 5 Mexicans who like sit on their couch and watch like, yes, go Canelo. And they just like watch like any Mexican like do anything. Like it could be literally like Master Chef, but it's like a Mexican just cutting up. Like, my point is, Yair has no fans other than a couple of random Mexicans. And even they don't want to see this fight. No one wants to see this fight. Volkanovski fans don't want to see this fight. I'm a Volkanovski fan. I don't want to see him fight what I would believe would be another easy win for him, especially when we know Volkanovski, we don't have him for that much longer. We know Volkanovski is going to retire very soon. We know Volkanovski is 36, 37. I believe he's 37. We know that Volkanovski does not have much time left in his UFC career. The fact that he beat Diego, which, yeah, I picked him to beat Diego, but because I'm a genius. No, but the fact that he beat Diego Lopez in itself is like a fucking miracle borderline. So we are here now, and the next obvious fight is Movsar Evloev, right? But Movsar Evloev has said that he's going to fight in July in Abu Dhabi, which, unless Volk is going to fight on a fight night in Abu Dhabi, obviously no, it's not going to be Volk, because he has said that Volk wanted to fight him. Volk actually wanted to fight him, and we know this because Volk publicly has mentioned Movsar and has said publicly he wants to fight Movsar Evloev, and he'd be interested in that fight. But Evloev ain't getting the title shot. And as somebody who is not a fan of Movsar Evloev, I don't like him as a fighter at all. I think he's had a couple of fun fights in his last couple of fights have been decent. You know, they've been decent. The Aljo fight was really fun. But I'm also not going to sit here and pretend like this guy's not fun to listen to. He's really like, he's stylistically, you know, he's just not, I mean, he's just hard to root for. I'm sorry, man. I'd much rather root for fucking Peter Yan and these other fighters. But with that being said, he deserves the next title shot. I don't care if I'm a fan of his. I don't care if I think he's the worst thing in the world. He 100 trillion %, deserves the next title shot. It's unfair. It's completely unfair, and it shows me that the UFC is just not a real fucking sport with real rules. Because if we're going off of their rules, this guy's the number one contender. How is he the number one contender if he is not getting the next title shot? But Yair is ranked below him and is getting a title shot. What sense does this make? It doesn't. It just makes no... So this is why people are shitting on this fight. Again, Yair is coming off of one win. He beat Patricio Pitbull. Before that, he beat... Who? I think he lost to Brian Ortega. Then I think he injured Brian Ortega's arm, which gave him like a TKO win or a sub win. Then before that, he lost to Volk. I think that's how it went. But nonetheless... I'm about to burp. Wait. Never mind. Sorry. Someone's going to rage in my comments. Please comment if you heard me burp. Listen, he beat a debuting Patricio Pitbull, a guy who was making his UFC debut. Now, I know he's a legend, bro, blah, 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 and my dumbass picked him to beat Yair. But at the end of the day, we all have bad picks, but at the end of the day, it's not that impressive of a win, to be honest with you. It's really not. Like, yeah, cool, you beat Patricio Pitbull. And it wasn't even... If you would have flatline KO'd Patricio Pitbull with a cartwheel head kick, I'd be like, you know what? You know, I would still be against it, but there's more of an argument at least. Like, whoa, Patricio Pitbull got flatlined by Yair in the first minute of the fight. But it's like, Who cares? He had a stinker with Patricio Pitbull, and the UFC, they told him, they said, yeah, you're guaranteed the next title shot, kid. Why? What is he? Does he have dirt on Hunter Campbell and Dana White? Is he gonna hire the Mexican cartel to kill them if they don't give him a title shot? What does he have some power over? I don't get it. Why would they promise him a title shot? That doesn't even make sense to me, to be honest with you. I'd rather you give it to fucking Gene Silva. And that doesn't make sense either, by the way. I'm not advocating for them to give Gene Silva a title shot. I'm just saying, like, what the fuck, bro? It's not even like this. This is not even some, like, it's not like Yair's like a superstar where he sells out arenas in Mexico and he's just the biggest star. It's not like he's Canelo Alvarez where it's just like, we got to give this guy the ball. No, he's just Yair Rodriguez. He's just a skinny little Ancho Jabli looking Mexican who had a stinker with Patricio Pitbull, lost to Brian Ortega, modern day Brian Ortega, fat, pudgy, fucking post Tracy Cortez Brian Ortega, and come on, bro. Again, I'm not a fan of Evloev, but I don't care if I'm a fan of his. He needs to get the next title shot, and it's not fair that he's now going to fight on a fight night in Abu Dhabi, bro. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, rant over. Let's talk about this. This is actually very, very interesting because this is kind of why I made this video in the first place, because I have spoken about this whole Yair Volk rumor, but I wanted to sort of just rant about it a little bit more. But kind of the reason I'm doing this video, there's been talks of moving UFC 320 from Mexico to the USA. Oh my God. So this is reported by Ariel Helwani, whatever his name is, and Arena GDMX. I'm assuming that's the arena of what MX would be Mexico, right? So whatever the case may be, this has been rumored. So this is fucking hilarious. Because that entire rant I just did, right? The reason they're doing this, whatever the reason may be, and I'm saying, why would they promise Yair a title shot? I don't know, right? But it does conveniently line up with a big event in September, which would be in Mexico, right? Yair, main event of a Mexico card against Volk for a title. I think it's awful. I think it doesn't make sense. I think you don't have to have a Mexican main event your pay-per-view in Mexico because a Canadian has not main evented a UFC Canadian pay-per-view in years. You know, didn't Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria main event like a card in Abu Dhabi in October? Wasn't that the Abu Dhabi main event? I'm pretty sure last year. So we've seen like non-people from that place main event, you know? So why do you feel you need to have a Mexican main event now? The card might not even be in fucking Mexico. This is so embarrassing, bro. From the fight being rumored, right, to Movsar getting slighted, and now he has to probably fight Aaron Pico. That's the rumor, right? He has to fight another guy who's coming off of a debut, who's just getting gifted a top contender. Look, I get it. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people. Like Aaron Pico getting a top contender doesn't bother me that much, but it's a little bit high up. I mean, you're getting the number one contender on your fucking debut. It's a bit ridiculous, let's be honest, but it doesn't super bother me. But it bothers me that Movsar is not getting the title shot. It doesn't bother me that Pico is getting a top contender. With that being said, though, you know, you slighted Movsar Evloev. You're doing a fight that all of the fans have shitted on, and now the card might not even be in Mexico. So one of the main reasons you're probably doing this is because it's a Mexican fighter, and now it's going to blow up in your fucking face because the card is not even in Mexico. What a fucking joke. It's such a joke, man. It's such a joke, man. It's like this has been such a disaster year for the UFC. Like, yeah, this might not be in their control. This might be one of those things that's out of their control, of course. But it's just like, it's just been embarrassing, man. You give Yair an unwarranted title shot. You make Movsar have to fight Aaron Pico. Now guess what? Now the card's probably not going to be in Mexico. So now what? We're going to have to see Volk versus Yair in Vegas? Really? For that, you could have just gave Movsar the title shot. You should have gave it to him anyways, and the co-main event could have been Yair versus Diego, but Yair doesn't want to fight a guy who he has beef with. You have so much beef with this guy. You're calling him Coulon, and you're trying to fight him on the stage, and you're screaming like you're fucking, like he redeemed your card, like you're Ansho Jabli, like he redeemed the card, and yet you don't want to fight the guy? Because the UFC, quote-unquote, promised you a title shot? And even if they did, it's just like, it's just ridiculous. You could have still done Volk versus Movsar in Mexico. Now, guess what? Now the card's not going to be in Mexico. So, what the fuck? Like, this is such a disaster, man. It's just such a disaster. It's such a disaster, but they deserve it. The UFC does not deserve to have good things happen to them anymore, bro. Until they start trying, until, like, things get better, until, bro, their fucking ticket prices too. Like, I saw the oh my god, the stutter was crazy. I almost said the N-word. Whoa. Whoa. I was gonna say the nosebleeds. Dude, the nosebleeds are like 10K now or 1K. It's crazy the amount of money the tickets cost nowadays. It's just ridiculous, man. So the UFC have become so greedy. I don't know if this is a TKO thing. I don't know if this is just a Dana White thing. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. But this is just ridiculous. This has been an embarrassing year, and it just keeps getting worse. Like, what's next? Ilya's going to pull out of the fight against Charles with a toe injury, I bet. I watch what's going to happen. Ilya's going to pull out against Charles, and we're going to get Charles versus, like, Justin Gaethje for the title. Islam Makhachev is going to retire due to, like, he's going to, like, break his leg in training or something. Freaking JDM is going to get injured, and he's going to relinquish his belt. Watch. Every bad thing you can think of is going to happen this year for the UFC. Why? I'm telling you. That's what it seems like. But at the same time, do they deserve good things to happen to them when they're booking fights nobody wants to see? When they're booking O'Malley versus Merab? When they're booking Yair versus Volk? When they're booking Strickland DDP2? When they're booking women's co-main events and women's fight night main events? When they're booking awful main cards of pay-per-views? Awful main cards. UFC, what was it? The JDM card with Bilal. The card ended up being fun. But that main card, really the card was only good because of the prelims. That main card was still a stinker main card. 2 women's fights. WMMA fights. Benoit Saint-Denis versus nobody. A can. And then I think that was it. And then it was just like, yeah, that was it, I'm pretty sure. Awful. It's just awful, man. UFC 312, the one in Australia with DDP Strickland 2. That main card had multiple unranked fighters on it. The prelims had almost all unranked fighters. It's crazy, man. The planning of the UFC is just hilariously bad. And that's the thing, too. It's like, why even plan an event in Mexico so far out too, right? And I know like they logistics, right? Because they have to like book it like way ahead of time. But still, why even put a card in Mexico and force a card in Mexico if you don't have any Mexican champions or you barely have any Mexican top contenders except Brandon Moreno or Yair coming off of 1 win? That's not a top contender. That's a guy who's coming off of a win. And Diego's coming off of a loss. They have no clear Mexican top contenders. So why forcefully? But when you have when you have a lot of Polish contenders, when you have guys like Yair, when you have guys like Jan Blachowicz, Mateusz Rebecki, especially when they were all coming up and winning, when you had those guys coming up and winning their fights, you didn't do a pay-per-view in Poland. You could have Jan Blachowicz versus so-and-so for the light heavyweight belt as the main event. Yair in the co-main. Well, I don't even know if Yair was in the UFC. Well, when Blachowicz lost his belt, was Yair in the UFC? I think. Nonetheless, you know what I fucking mean. Like, them forcefully doing a card in Mexico, it is just so stupid. And now it's going to blow up in their face. Now it's not going to work out for them. It's hilarious. They deserve it. The UFC deserves every bad thing to happen to them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. It is what it is. I'm not going to cry if this gets canceled. But now what did they do? Because, again, the whole reason one of the big reasons, the biggest reason that you booked Yair versus Volk is because it was in Mexico and it would have been in Mexico. And you could have a Mexican in your main event. But now you're not even going to do a card in Mexico. So what the fuck are you going to do now? Are you going to scrap Evloev versus Aaron Pico and then just quickly try to do Evloev Volk and then maybe you offer Yair Diego, but Yair's going to be pissed because now you basically gave him a title shot. Then you're going to strip him away from the title shot and then you're going to give him someone else. He's not going to accept that. He'll just go fucking fool around. He only fights once a year anyways. I'm surprised they didn't book this fight for next year. Yair versus Volk too, that is. I'm surprised they didn't wait till like January of next year with Yair's schedule. So it's just ridiculous. Like, it fucks up everything. It really fucks up everything. And now it's now it's not even gonna happen. Now it's not even gonna happen in Mexico. So whatever, man. It's just embarrassing. And then we can talk about Matt Brown. I love Matt Brown, but this is kind of this mindset, this old head mindset, is really the problem with why Evloev isn't getting the title shot. This is probably the mindset that guys like Dana have, right? So he says, unfortunately for a guy like Movsar, you have to be a real fan to even know who he is, much less that he's on a win streak and that he could threaten a champion. The fact is, most guys don't know his name. You go to a bar and mention Movsar Evloev, no one's going to know who the hell you're talking about. You can't necessarily diss the UFC or hate them for the way they do it. It just fucks the guys like Movsar. What a ridiculous fucking statement. What a retarded statement. I'm sorry, I love Matt Brown. He's a legend of the sport, blah, blah, blah. But what a retarded statement, bro. You have to be a real fan to know who he is, much less that he's on a winning streak. The fact is, most guys don't know his name. That's not my problem. I don't care. He's the number one contender. I don't care. It's not about name value. It's not. It's never been about name value. I mean, it has been in the past. But if Movsar Evloev is a top contender and he's beating guys like Aljamain Sterling, Arnold Allen, Dan Ige, he deserves to get the fucking title shot. He is number one in the rankings, or number two he might be, but he is top. He's higher than the guy they're giving the title. I'm fucking stuttering. He's higher than the guy they're giving the title shot to in the rankings, that being Yair Rodriguez. He is higher in the rankings than him. It's ridiculous. I don't care if he has no name. That's the UFC's fault. Promote the guy then. They don't promote shit. Ilia Topuria should be a fucking megastar. People should be talking about this guy. Freaking, you should have like, if you ask the Nelk boys, they probably don't know who Ilia Topuria is. You should have the most casual of casuals glazing the fuck out of Ilia. Everyone should be glazing Ilia Topuria. Everyone should be glazing guys like Alex Pereira. Well, they do him, but Islam Makhachev, casual should be sucking the cock of Makhachev. All these guys, right? But the UFC doesn't promote them. So how would I know Islam Makhachev is a super dominant champion who submits everybody and who's beaten some of the greatest names in the modern era? How am I supposed to know that? The UFC wouldn't tell me because they don't promote shit. So it applies to the smaller names like Movsar. They don't promote this guy. They don't promote none of their guys, let alone guys who deserve it, guys who can't promote themselves like Movsar. That's your job. The UFC's job is to promote people, especially people like Movsar, who can't promote themselves. Now, there's guys that can promote themselves well, like Merab has been doing a lot of skits and shit, and he's legitimately grown a fan base. I'm a fan of Merab, when at one point I hated Merab, but now I love Merab. So there's guys that do good jobs of self-promotion, but not everybody is Merab. Not everybody is these guys that can do skits and hire social media people and hire a guy to control their Twitter and their YouTube channels. No, not everybody can do that. Not everybody cares enough to do that, and that's okay. But your job as the UFC, your job as a promoter, Dana White, is to promote. That's why you got dropped from promoting Canelo versus Crawford. Because they realize, wait, this guy's a fucking bum-ass promoter. He barely promotes his... He has guys like Ilya Topuria. He has guys like Islam Makhachev on his roster. He has guys like Tom Aspinall on his roster. Pantoja. He has all these great... Dricus du Plessis. He has all these great guys. And yet, wait, Dricus doesn't have 1 million followers on Instagram yet? Even though he's beating Israel Adesanya, he might have 1 million followers, by the way. I'm just using this as an example, but... Wait, Dricus doesn't have 1 million followers, and he's submitted Adesanya, and he KO'd Robert Whittaker. You know why? Dricus has a small amount of followers, and nobody cares about Dricus du Plessis. You guys know why? Because Dana White can't promote for shit. And that's what Turkey Al-Sheikh, or whatever his name is, realized that, and that's why he dropped Dana White from promoting. And that's why he should be dropped from promoting the UFC at this point. Because this mindset of, oh, nobody knows who Movsar Evloev is. That's not, like, because the UFC don't promote him. What the fuck? It's not his fault. Yes, he could do a much better job of promoting himself. Of course. But at the end of the day, there's guys like Devin Haney who have millions of followers on Instagram and Twitter just because you know the name Devin Haney. It's, oh, that's Devin Haney. Devin Haney, Devin Haney, Devin Haney. You see that name everywhere. He's not a good fighter. He's a shit fighter. He's a shit fighter. Dog shit fighter. Piss poor, flat personality. His dad looks like a crackhead. Yet somehow, Devin Haney has been able to find success. Has been able to find all these followers. Has been able to get all these big opportunities. And Devin Haney is going to be in all these commercials. And he has all these sponsorships. You know why? Because his promoter, whoever that may be, or his multiple promoters, they know how to promote him. I believe his promoter is Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn knows how to promote. Eddie Hearn knows how to go in interviews and say, yeah, my guy, yeah, he has 15-0 knockouts. This guy's a fucking monster. And he knows how to promote. They know how to use social media. Boxing in general knows how to promote because they literally do movie trailers for fights now. Movie trailers for fights. Literally. The UFC, the best they do is just, yeah, we'll have you guys squeeze a bag of milk on camera and then do an interview with Nina Drama for 10 minutes. Wow. Great promotion, UFC, even though you're making the most money you've ever made. But this is the highest amount of greed you've ever had. I've never seen shit like this before, man. It's crazy. You make the most money ever. You're the most popular you've ever been. And now you decide to put in the least amount of effort? Crying about, oh, Movsar Evloev doesn't have a name. Nobody knows who he is. That's not my problem, and that's not his problem. That's Dana White's problem for not promoting him. Sorry. It is what it is. Make sure you guys like and sub. This whole video was really just a long rant. I'm sorry. But I did want to kind of talk about all the different things that have taken place. It just, the fan reaction has just been, like, this has been a disaster. I really think this has been a disaster, man. I think this has just been a nightmare scenario, a nightmare year for the UFC in general, man. So make sure you guys like and sub. Become a member in the description. Is there anybody? Let me know. Is there anybody who legitimately wants to see Yair versus Volk? And if you do, get out of my fucking comments. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, see you guys next time, and peace.